What's good, podcast world? What's good, YouTube?
Sixers are in trouble. I need a top five.
Man, let's get into best of the week, man. What's good, podcast world? What's good, YouTube? Back for another episode of Charge to the Game Sports Podcast, brought to you by BetUS, man. Create your BetUS account. Use promo code to the game for the special offer. The link is down at the bottom of the comment section of the show. And Simply 8 vitamin gummies, man. So got a few sponsors ready, but this is neither here or there, man. We're back with another special guest, man. Matt Maiocco, 49ers team reporter, Hall of Fame reporter, if you ask me, man. Matt, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, Ryan. Pleasure to be on your show. And been covering the 49ers. I was just 28 years will be this coming season. So I know I don't look that old. I think like covering sports keeps us all young, talking sports. It sure beats talking and covering what's going on out there in the real world. So I love it. It never gets old. And I love making new friends. And thank you so much for having me on the Charge It to the Game podcast.
For sure, man. Like I said, it's always a blessing. Well, Jay, actually, there you are, man. So,
just going for work. Sorry,
it's all good.
Hey, Jay, what's happening?
Nothing, man. Just getting off of work. How about yourself?
I was over at the Giants, San Francisco Giants, watched them play a game and came home. And here I am talking 49ers football. So a lot of stuff happening in the Bay Area. Obviously the Warriors are in the playoffs and they look like they're going to be tough to beat. The Giants are doing their thing, but it's always football season in my house. I cover the 49ers, and there's it's 11 months of the year. There's really only 1 month, like middle of June to the middle of July. And then this year, with all the craziness, Debo Samuels, what's going to happen with Jimmy Garoppolo and the team just coming off the draft. So there's always a lot of fun stuff to talk about.
For sure, man. And we're going to get to it. So for the people that, want kind of like a highlight of the show, man, we're going to be talking the draft, the Niners draft, Debo Samuel contract situation, Jimmy G, Kyle Shanahan, George Kittle, all the key and star players, man. This is your guy. But Matt, man, let's start a little lighter. So for the people that don't know, man, like I said, you've been around this team for a long time, man. And like I said, you're highly respected, highly regarded in the industry. Tell us about, how you kind of got your start. For some people that maybe want to get into sports journalism or cover teams and stuff like that, because we got a lot of young guests too that, hopefully want to, be one of those people that you kind of pass the torch to at some point. So tell us how you kind of got your start in that way.
Well, I was probably very similar to a lot of kids growing up, just love sports, couldn't get enough of it. I like the media part of it. Watched a lot of TV, listened to a lot of radio, liked to write, read a lot. And so, around the point where I realized, I don't think I'm going to be a Major League Baseball player. I felt like my path to the major leagues was in this role. And I think, for everybody, it's so inclusive now, right? It used to be, there weren't very many women reporters. Now there are, and probably some of the best reporters in the NFL are women. And a lot of them, there's this, right now we're going through this golden age of just really talented, young female reporters, a lot of very impressive male reporters too. But So we got that. And then also when you look at like NFL coaching staffs, and heck, even with the Giants, they have a coach on their staff who's a woman, San Francisco Giants. And so you look at front offices, and there's just, it's wide open to anybody. And why shouldn't it be? Because there are a lot of coaches, men coaches who never played football beyond high school or college. And so I just fell in love with like the I'm kind of a junkie when it comes to what's really happening behind the scenes. And so
Right.
this was an opportunity for me to be, kind of on the inside and really learning, how a team, the team dynamics. And so I always thought for the longest time, I thought my entree into sports reporting would be baseball because that was kind of what I grew up. But then a lot of times in this business, something just kind of falls in your lap and you make the most of it. And the 49ers beat came open. I went for it and I got it. And now I can't get out of it. It's kind of like this has reeled me in. I can't, not that I would ever want to get out of it, but
Right.
this will be my 28th season covering the 49ers.
Wow.
I bounced around to some different outlets, but for the past 12 years, I've been with NBC Sports Bay Area. And so we're talking in front of the camera, we're talking writing, podcasting. I do radio on KNBR here in the Bay Area. So I've just, it's kind of like I always equate it to myself when I hear rookies come in and they're trying to make the team. And the thing they're always told is the more you can do, right?
Yeah.
You may be a really good defensive back, but you better play special teams.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you better play special teams. And so that's kind of like what I think us in the media now have to do is, you might want to write, you might want to be on TV, you might want to be a podcaster or whatever. You might want to do one of those, but you better play special teams. You better do it all.
Yeah, for sure, man. Thanks for giving that little nugget, man. Like I said, you've been doing this for a long time, and like I said, in the industry, man, you're like one of the gold standard, man. I listen to you all the time, and my neighbor's actually a big Niners fan, so I know he's looking forward to this show, man. We were just talking about it the other day outside of my fucking driveway.
What's your neighbor's name, bro?
Brian, man.
Brian. Shout out to Brian.
Yeah, shout out to Brian, man. So, but let's chop it up, man. So let's start with last season, man. So last season, I don't know if it was a surprising season. If you guys fell short, you guys fell short in the playoffs. You guys ultimately lost to the Rams. And what was it? The divisional round?
No, it was the NFC Championship.
NFC Championship. There you go. And ultimately that was the thing. You guys beat Aaron Rodgers on the road in Green Bay. Tell us a little bit about what was last season's the aura around that team and what was going on inside the locker room.
Yeah, it was a different kind of season because on March 26th, a full month before the draft, the 49ers make that move to trade up to number 3 overall. Yeah. And before it even got out publicly, Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch both called Jimmy Garoppolo and said, hey, look, this is what we just did. Basically saying we are going to take a quarterback at number 3, and he's going to replace you at some point. And Jimmy Garoppolo said, are you going to give me the opportunity to compete for the starting job this season? And the answer was yes. But where it could have gone completely bad, it didn't. And Jimmy Garoppolo deserves a lot of credit for just keeping his head down, doing what he needed to do. He was a good teammate to Trey Lance. And Trey Lance is, I think, a kind of a special guy when it comes to just how he carries himself. So those two got along very well. Jimmy, I think, proved that was the right decision to keep him on the roster throughout the season. But things started out pretty poorly. And I think right around the time where Kyle Shanahan started to think, you know what, I'm about ready to pull the plug on this season and put Trey Lance in there and let's ride it out with the growing pains and everything else. That's when Jimmy Garoppolo got hot. That's when the team got hot, and they made that run. And yes, they made it to the NFC Championship game. Yes, they probably should have won that game. They had a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter. But Garoppolo for the last going into the playoffs, he had that thumb injury. It was going into the final game of the season. They had to beat the Rams in LA just to make it into the playoffs.
Right,
he had a torn ligament in his thumb. He could barely grip that thing, but he kind of toughed it out, and he didn't play great, but he played well enough to win. and kind of took them down for a couple late drives that enabled them to win that game. But then in the first playoff game at Dallas, he hurts his shoulder. So now he's got a torn ligament in the thumb and on his throwing hand. He's got a torn capsule in his right shoulder. And I think that ultimately played a big role in some throws he missed in that game, in the NFC Championship game.
Yeah.
Then, everybody knew that they were going to try to trade him. And Jimmy Garoppolo, in talking to us in the media the day after the NFC Championship game, said goodbye to everybody because everybody assumed this was going to be it for him.
Right.
So a week before the start of free agency, when the 49ers were making kind of this move to trade him, he goes ahead and has the surgery, and now he remains on the team. And I don't know how this thing's going to go. If there's one thing that I've learned, teams that trade for quarterbacks kind of want their quarterbacks to be able to throw a football.
Yes, sir. That's
100%.
Sure, man. And I look at it this way, a great analysis, synopsis. I mean, looking at Jimmy G, to be honest, I like the guy a lot, man. I'm a Bucs fan. I got the hat on. Obviously, we got Tom Brady. We don't know how much longer Tom Brady's playing. I've been kind of, before Tom Brady, when he said he was retired, I didn't know what the Bucs were going to do. I didn't know if they were going to do Kyle Trask, Blaine Gabbert. You were hearing Baker Mayfield. I was like, I really hope they, some find a way to get Jimmy G. I like him. He might not be Byron Leftwich's type of scheme and system type guy, but he's safe. He's consistent. He's on schedule. He doesn't hold the ball. He's mobile. All of those things. But I really enjoy Jimmy G, man. I know that you said, ultimately the Niners this season are going with Trey Lance. Can you give, for the regular everyday person or just the Niners fans out there, the people that, you obviously, you interacted with Trey. What is his temperament like? What is he like as a person? How seriously does he take the game? And ultimately, do you think he's ready for to be QB1?
Well, here's the thing that I learned. And, my wife and I had been married a few years, and I think every couple has that conversation. Are we ready to have kids?
Right.
And the answer is always no. The answer, I don't care who it is. The answer is always no. But sometimes you just have to say, we're doing it and we're going to learn on the fly.
Yes, sir.
And I think that's the way it is with being an NFL quarterback. No one's really ever ready to be an NFL starting quarterback, but sometimes you just have to say, let's see, let's go. And kind of figure this thing out as you go along. So I think that's what Trey Lance is going to go through. But I think temperament, I think physical ability, I think smarts, I think the way he approaches the game, I think his rapport with teammates, I think he has all that stuff. The only question I would have about him is from the standpoint of just, the accuracy. That's something that I think kind of comes and goes, as it probably does with most really strong arm quarterbacks.
Yeah.
But he's such a talented guy that, he doesn't have to be Drew Brees accurate because, his arm is so strong. Like he can fit balls in, maybe there's a little bit more room for error. And then, when a play breaks down, he can go off running as well. He just adds a lot to the table. I mean, if there's a quarterback that I would compare him to this is obviously ideal for the 49ers, would be Josh Allen.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But remember now, when Josh Allen was coming into the NFL, he was not considered an accurate throw.
Very inaccurate. Yep.
Yeah. In fact, I mean, his rookie year, wasn't he in the 50%? Like he wasn't all that. But then year 2 or 3, he took this hugely. And now he's like seen as, he's a generational talent. I don't know. I don't know how a guy goes from being, what we could all agree would be an inaccurate thrower of the football at Wyoming and then his first year in the NFL to being a guy who is just spot on. Like he's like the model. And so that's, I think, And again, I don't know how you improve your accuracy like that. It's not like, in the old days with baseball, like a guy hits 7 home runs one year and then he juices in the offseason and now he's in 35. There's no pill you can take that makes you an accurate thrower, right?
Right.
That's something that you have to, there's no shortcuts to that. You have to really hone in on mechanics and spend a lot of time really on that craft. So I think Trey Lance is going to be fine, but we'll see. I mean, he's going to have his growing pains like any quarterback does. But I tell you what, I haven't seen anything in the year covering him and watching him practice that leads me to believe like this guy's going to be completely overmatched.
Right. I mean, I love it, man. I mean, I like Trey a lot. I mean, we had some of his former teammate on, Aaron Mercadale, out of North Dakota State. He couldn't agree more, about, what the guy, his temperament, the way he throws the ball, the way he works, what he's done, all of that stuff, man. I'm really excited to see, what he does and watching him play.
And Rome, if I can just say this, a year ago when the 49ers drafted him, I went to Marshall, Minnesota, which is his hometown, and I went to Fargo, and we did a big piece that you can find it on YouTube. It's called The Choice, Trey Lance. Okay. But his dad is a very serious guy, and his dad played college football. And at a very young age, like there were talks in that family, like, do you want to be great? Do you want to just have fun, or do you want to be great? And, the answer was, I want to be great. Okay, then let's get to work. And his dad, from a very young age, taught him not just to watch film, but how to watch film. And so there are certain guys that want the glory, want to be the quarterback, but they don't want to put in the time and that minutia of watching film, the monotony, right? There's like a lot of hours of just watching, tape or whatever, video. To say film is an old school term, but to watch the video and say, and watching the same play 10 times to see what the safety's doing or this and that, what checks that I should have made, how to read defense, all that. And he seems to be someone from a very early age that was ingrained in him.
That's great, man. And like I said, I mean, they're ultimately passing him the keys to the car. And I mean, this car has a lot of nice toys on it. And obviously he has Kyle Shanahan. And, I think he has a great setup, man. I mean, he's in a great position. If there's a young quarterback in a great system and a great scheme and a great coaching staff and a great coach and a great supporting cast, it's Trey Lance. And just in my opinion, we're all from the DMV area, Washington, D.C., Maryland, Virginia. We've seen Kyle Shanahan. We've seen the way he's run his offense. I mean, it's almost like he helps. He's one of those coaches, he adapts to his quarterback. He doesn't run a particular – he runs a scheme, but he does what, he adapts to his player's strengths. Would you say that's kind of accurate?
Yeah, I mean, he's the one really, when you think about it, that brought the RPOs into the NFL. When he had Robert Griffin, he wasn't – I don't think they really wanted him, but he was kind of forced on. So his thing was, okay, let's make this work. How are we going to adapt? And in a lot of ways, he was kind of flying by the seat of his pants on how to bring that kind of college, what was then considered kind of a college offense to the NFL. Right. So, I mean, he's definitely had to adapt. We've always kind of thought of him. I mean, more than a year ago, when they had that number 3 pick, I kind of fell in line with the one quarterback that would really fit him at number 3, assuming that Trevor Lawrence was going 1 and Zach Wilson was going 2, which of course happened. Yeah. I mean, I think it might be Mac Jones.
I was about to say that. Yep.
Yeah, because Mac Jones is the guy that, he's a pocket passer and he gets the ball out on time. He doesn't have the strong arm. He's not going to run for, he's never going to break.
Similar to Matt Ryan when they went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Matt Ryan, that second year with Kyle Shanahan, Matt Ryan, I don't know if anyone's ever put together a list of the greatest single seasons. But if someone does that, Matt Ryan's going to be.
Yeah, he was an MVP.
I mean, he was incredible that season. So what Kyle Shanahan did was like, what potentially what Trey Lance brings to the 49ers is all of the stuff that he likes, along with the added elements of being able to throw the ball 45 yards down the field and to be able to break it loose on a scramble or a designed run. So, perfect scenario for the 49ers would be that Trey Lance can do all the stuff in the passing game that Kyle Shanahan likes, but also when Kyle Shanahan doesn't have the right play call against a specific defense, and now he needs somebody to bail out the play call, Trey Lance can do that because of his athletic ability.
Sure, man. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. It's definitely going to be a show, man. As far as we talked a little bit about Jimmy G, like I said, I don't want to touch on it too much. I want to get to some other stuff. What do you see happen? Do you have any idea like what's going to happen, or they're going to keep him or cut him? Like what?
Yeah.
Can they afford to keep him with the cap?
Well,
with the cap?
That's what I keep hearing people say that they can keep him. In the 49ers are saying that we can keep him.
You have to know his number, though.
But I'm thinking, when you still haven't signed Debo Samuel to a contract, when you still haven't signed Nick Bosa to a contract, do you really have $25 million to just throw away on a backup quarterback? So, and I would even say this. Once Jimmy Garoppolo is cleared to throw, if there's no trade, and I can't imagine any team that's going to trade for him at this point and commit $25 million to him. But I'm just wondering, can you even, as the 49ers, can you even afford to put him out there in training camp? Can you afford to put him into a preseason game and run the risk of a potential season-ending injury? And now you're on the hook for that $25 million?
Yeah, you don't do it.
The only thing that I can think of would be if the OTAs begin and Trey Lance looks horrible. That would be the only thing. And the 49ers are built to win right now.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, look at their top price guys are guys like, Fred Warner, George Kittle, Trent Williams. You have these guys who are Eric Armstead. You have these
veterans.
Like this team, the window is open. Yes. So the only way to me it makes sense to keep Jimmy Garoppolo is if they get the sense very early on that, you know what, Trey Lance isn't it. We can't give up this season, so let's bring back Jimmy Garoppolo for the final year of his contract. But now that opens up a whole new set of circumstances, because now you traded 2 future first-round and a third-rounder in the future to move up to get Trey Lance. And now you're telling me that he can't be the starter over Garoppolo, the guy who a year ago you pretty much closed the door on and saying we don't want to ride into the future with him. So how does it play out? Even though the 49ers and a lot of people are saying they can keep him as the backup, I don't think they can. And if they do, I never, ever want to hear anybody around the 49ers talk about the salary cap again. Because if you have $25 million to throw away on a guy who's going to be carrying a clipboard all year, then you don't have salary cap problems. And I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, it's just not working, man. Something's going to happen. And thanks for explaining that. Now, to the Debo situation. Now, Brian, I got you on this, man. I got you covered, man. Kind of talking about what's going to happen with Debo. So, first of all, what is Debo going through? And just ultimately, like, what's the feeling within the organization? I think he's heard some stuff come about with John Lynch saying, and obviously Debo on like Twitter and Instagram. I don't know, but I mean, like, so what's the latest on that?
Well, we first got the indication that Debo wasn't happy with the 49ers when he basically scrubbed the 49ers from his social media accounts.
We know that's a new thing nowadays.
That's kind of how it's done now, right?
Yeah.
I'm not happy with you. You're out. You're out of my social media.
Yeah.
Well, last week, I believe it was, he's following the 49ers again. So maybe all is good in 49er land.
Okay.
But I just think what's happened with Debo, and I could be wrong because I really don't think the 49ers know. Now, I'm sure there have been conversations since I last talked to somebody there, but kind of got the sense that they were a little bit confused by this as well. But I do think that when Debo Samuel looks around the NFL and sees Tyreek Hill gets paid, Devontae Adams gets paid, heck, Christian Kirk gets paid, A.J. Brown gets paid. You see all these, DJ Moore gets paid, all these guys get paid, and Debo's going, what about me? What about me? Right now, he's scheduled to make $4 million this season, final year of his rookie contract. He's not playing for $4 million. And the 49ers realize they can't, yes, they have leverage, but they can't allow him to play for $4 million this season. Right. So I think Debo got a little bit impatient, and it's part of this contract negotiation thing. Like, the team's first offer is going to be low. The counter proposal from the player's side is going to be high. And eventually, over time, they kind of come to the point where they meet in the middle. Well, they don't have to really meet in the middle until, the start of training camp. Yeah. And so I think it's not something that's going to happen overnight. I just think all sides need to be kind of patient. And I think that the 49ers did listen to trade proposals on the first day of the draft. But I think what happened was they were expecting, they were like, okay, there's a chance that they're going to be tempted to take an offer. They want Debo Samuel on their team, right. But I think they thought it was going to be a difficult decision based on what they felt Debo Samuel was worth. Like if a team comes to the table and says, we'll give you 2 first-round draft picks for Debo Samuel, 49ers would have had to say,
easy.
Easy.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe buy Debo. But that didn't happen. The 49ers were going to get a first-round pick from the Jets, but the Jets wanted the 49ers' second-round pick. So the 49ers looked at this and go, are you kidding me? No. And so from that standpoint, it was a very easy decision. And I don't know what Debo Samuel's thinking, but I got to believe that he probably even looked at what the Jets came to the table with and said, I don't blame the 49ers for not trading me. Even though he's the one who requested the trade, he was probably thinking, boy, I would have thought that I could have gotten more than that in return for me. So, a week after the draft, he refollows the 49ers on Instagram. And I think they're going to work it out because I don't see any other scenario. Because if you're the 49ers and you decide to trade at this point, if you decide to trade your best offensive player, you sure as hell better get something in return that helps you immediately. And right now, the best draft pick you can get would be a future draft pick, 2023 draft. And it would be with a team where you don't even know where they're drafting. It could be number 1 overall. It could be 32 overall. So I just don't see any scenario where Debo Samuel's playing for some other team this season.
Yeah, and I don't see it either. I mean, I'm looking at it. When I saw the gentleman from the Titans get traded to the Eagles, I was just like, that was like the team that I thought, he could have fit in, with. I mean, other than the Colts don't make like major splashes like that. That's a great
and they
team.
had the draft capital. The Eagles have the draft capital to get that done.
They do.
Exactly. And that ultimately happened. So I'm looking at it with Debo. First of all, I love Debo's play style. I love what he brings to the table. I know he's very dynamic, pass catcher, running back, running over linebackers and safeties and D linemen. I saw him stiff on my D lineman in the goddamn Packers game. It was just crazy. I mean, I just love what he brings to the table. He's fun. He's exciting. I just
is that the issue, that he doesn't want to be used as a running back, to maybe even be considered a running back?
You know what? I don't know. But here's the thing. I think if he had any issues with how he's being used, he and Kyle Shanahan are extremely tight. Like Kyle Shanahan would tell me that I think he has a closer relationship with Debo Samuel than any player he's ever coached.
That's crazy.
And Debo's told me that too, like how he views Kyle. He'll go into Kyle's office on a Monday and Tuesday and just chop it up with him. So if they're that close and Debo Samuel had an issue with how he was being used, wouldn't he have just told Kyle, like, hey, I prefer not to run between the tackles. It's beating me up. I prefer, I can take a jet sweep now and then, but let's not make this a big part of the offense. And the fact of the matter is the final 11 games of the year, he lined up in the backfield and took handoffs anywhere from 5 to 10 times a game for the final 11 games. So I don't know that that's the case because he never, talking to him, I talked to him at the Super Bowl and he was talking about, I asked him about, could you be a 1,000 guy?
Wow.
We've seen 1,000 running backs, right? Christian McCaffrey, Roger
Marshall
Craig,
Faulk, those guys,
but we've never seen a 1,000 receiver. That's crazy. And he said, yeah, I could do it. And so he never let on that he was dissatisfied with that role. And let's face the facts. Part of what makes Debo Samuel such an important guy and a guy who's going to get paid is that ability because he does that. I mean, he could be a top – he could probably be a top 10 running back.
You're right. Yeah.
Probably. And so if he says, I absolutely don't want to do that anymore, I think that maybe lessens his value a little bit. But at the same time, if you're the 49ers, last year they did that because they really had no other choice.
Right. And that was just my other point because I think he was doing a lot of that because you guys were banged up I forgot the running. They were all hurt.
They were all hurt. Yeah. And it got to the point where Elijah Mitchell, it was almost like a thunder and lightning thing. You had Elijah Mitchell doing, the outside zone stuff, and then Debo would come in and he could do everything. He could run between tackles.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much you want to talk about the draft, but when the 49ers used a 3rd round pick on Ty Davis-Price from LSU, and he's a bigger back. He's like 220. He played a little bit at 230.
He'll totally.
Oh, wow.
I think what the thought process there was, it caught everybody, kind of caught me by surprise. I expected them to take a running back at some point, but I didn't expect it on day 2. But I think when they took him, the first thing that came into my mind was they're setting up another barrier to ensure that they don't have to use Debo the way they did last season.
Makes sense.
Now there can be say 2 or 3, a couple injuries and they're fine.
Right.
But last year, I mean, you had, Elijah Mitchell was injured. Jeff Wilson Jr. was injured. Trey Sermon was injured. JaMychal Hasty was injured. They had all these injuries, and they were like, "Wow, we need to find something else to do." And so that's what they did. They moved him into the backfield. But I just don't think that that's sustainable.
Right.
Because Debo is, look from Debo Samuel's standpoint, running backs don't get paid, and running backs longevity in the NFL is not very good. And then you look at it conversely. Wide receivers, they get paid. And wide receivers can play at the top of their game a lot longer than running backs can.
That's for sure. You're right about that, man. I know, for a matter of fact, I don't know if you're a big Madden guy, man. I play a lot of Madden. I at least used to. Niners run game when they had Matt Breida, Mostert. That speed. Do they have any speed guys like that on the team of this upcoming season? It just seems like they had a lot of success when they had that blazing guy that he would just, if the safety had an angle on, he would just smoke him.
Yeah, Mitchell's pretty fast.
Okay,
Mitchell's pretty fast, but not Mostert fast. Not fast. But look at it this way: Kyle Shanahan came to the 49ers in 2017. So 2017, their leading rusher was Carlos Hyde. The next year, and forgive me here, but I'll get the names right, but maybe not in the right order. But the next year, their leading rusher was Matt Breida. Yeah. The next year, their leading rusher was Raheem Mostert. The next year, their leading rusher was Jeff Wilson. And then the next year, their leading rusher was Elijah Mitchell. So that's 5 seasons since Shanahan's been with the 49ers. 5 different leading rushers each season. So that kind of tells you that they can swap in guys, swap out, and it's probably more the scheme. They get guys that fit what they want to do. And I'm not taking anything away from any of those guys. They're all talented in their own right. But they can kind of just keep things rolling. And I think the thing that they want to do is they don't I mean, there were games last year where Elijah Mitchell late in the season, he was banged up. I mean, he had like 27 carries a game for like a couple games in a row there. And I think what they want to do is by taking Ty Davis Price, which was a little bit of a surprise where they took him, but they want more of a, they don't want a 1,200-yard rusher. They'd much rather have two guys sharing the load
by committee,
each getting 650 yards rushing.
Right, and that makes sense.
I have a question though. Do you prefer that back, like the back committee?
Isn't it? I think so. Don't you think that it's, you see with, I guess the example would be the Tennessee Titans. That once if you put it all on one guy, and then you lose that guy, now
you're in trouble.
Yeah, it's not necessarily that the production can't stay at that level. That's a lot of it. But I also think that there's like this psyche with your team where, oh no, we just lost Derrick Henry. What are we going to do now? Mm-hmm. But if you're spreading the load and there are two guys having success or three guys having success, if one of those guys goes down, it's just like, it's this old saying, right? Like next man up.
Yep.
We can just keep right on rolling. So I definitely think, and now also I think, Jay, when you look at a 17-game season, now if you're playing 17 games in the regular season and then you're playing potentially 4 more in the postseason to get to the Super Bowl or with the Super Bowl included, think of the wear and tear.
Oh yeah.
So if you
that could be rough.
Long season.
So if you have one guy who's your back, your bell cow, oh my gosh! But when the playoffs start, I mean, you're stitching that guy up. You're using baling wire to like keep them together.
Just piecing and puzzling them together, getting ready for the playoffs.
You're like scooping him off the turf and like putting him in the wheelbarrow to get him ready for the next game.
Right. I mean, if you look at the Titans last season, I mean, they were rolling with Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry goes down. And they had to rely on Ryan Tannehill. And, Ryan Tannehill the season before was an MVP candidate. It's still crazy to me. An MVP candidate, Ryan Tannehill was with Derrick Henry in the backfield. Now you got Jonathan Taylor, them kind of battling out for the top 1 and 2 running backs in the league. But to stay on track, man, a lot of people probably want to hear about these draft picks, man. So the Niners did a hell of a job. I mean, I think we kind of talked a little bit about it before we came on the show, man. That defensive end out of USC, man, was it Jackson?
Drake Jackson from USC.
Man, tell us about him, man. He's a beast.
Yeah, I mean, he's the numbers, the sack numbers weren't great at USC, but you see a lot of traits that translate over to the NFL. And when it came to that point, I think that there were two guys, Nick Bonito from Maryland, right?
Yep.
Or no? Yeah, Maryland.
Yep.
And Drake Jackson were kind of the two guys that you would look at, like two pretty good edge rushers still on the board. So they went with Drake Jackson, and the 49ers really believe, like, if you think you have enough defensive linemen, add 2 or 3 more.
I see.
Yeah.
And they have a shortage. They have, I think they kept 11 defensive linemen last year. So it's very much, they have Nick Bosa, they have Eric Armstead. Those two guys are going to be out there on those money downs.
Yeah.
And then you can bring in, they give those guys rest throughout the game, but they have them fresh for the fourth quarter. But I think Drake Jackson, the good thing for him is that he will have an opportunity to get a lot of snaps, or at least he'll be part of that rotation. And then how many snaps in a game he ends up getting will be completely up to how much he produces. But he's a guy that at that position, he doesn't have to come in and be the starter day one. Any other position, you draft a cornerback high in the draft, you expect him to start right away. You draft a running back, you draft an offensive lineman, because those guys don't like in and out of the lineup. Like they're your starters. But defensive linemen, I mean, teams teams rotate defensive linemen all the time. So it's a really good position, I think, for a rookie to come in without a whole lot of pressure. You can kind of work with somebody, and play sweet music.
That is hilarious. I think that was Big C. Good catch, man. That's why you're the pro, bro.
Oh, man, I say, yeah, he's such a pro.
That's funny as hell, man. But like I said,
man.
I mean that defensive line is just crazy. Like you guys got Kinlaw, Nick Bosa, Armstead, all coming at you. And the thing is, I mean, Bosa's probably. I mean, you guys still have D4 too?
He's not going to be back. So he's been injured, and he's still on the roster. But the 49ers have already basically said, that they're going to give up on him. But they've added so many guys, and probably some names you might not even be familiar with. Guys like Samson Ebukam.
Oh yeah, from the Rams. Yep.
Kevin Givens, Hassan Ridgeway with the Eagles. He comes over. Kamoko Ture, who had like 5 or 6 sacks with the Colts. Charles Omenihu came over in a trade last year from Houston. So they basically have like what I would consider like 2 superstars.
Right.
Well, one superstar, that's Nick Bosa, and one right there, Eric Armstead. And then you have a bunch of like really good players that you can kind of rotate through. And then you mentioned Javon Kinlaw. He's a guy that just hasn't been healthy.
Yeah.
But this offseason, he had the ACL surgery middle of last season, and he is pain-free for the first time in a long time. Took them a while to figure out what was going on with that knee. And so from what I understand, he's pain-free. His knee isn't swelling. He's working out, and they're expecting him to kind of live up to that draft status that they picked him in a couple of years ago, hoping that he would take over for DeForest Buckner. So he's a guy that has an opportunity to be a huge part of this 49ers defense.
Yeah. And like I said, they kind of do it by committee. And like you said, they got that superstar and Nick Bosa. Tell us about him, man. Oh my God. Like, first of all, how strong is the guy? I mean, what is he putting up in the weight room, bench squat? He looks like he's a fucking cannonball of a dude.
Have you seen his quads?
I look at him all. Yeah, I saw him in training camp.
It's incredible. Now, he is just a next level guy. Like he was, when he was in high school, like, well, even before that, like he was all about football. Dad played football, his brother, a couple years older than him. When Joey went to Ohio State, Nick would go up there, and he would work with the defensive line coach up there. So he was kind of this next level technician at the high school level. And his issue at Ohio State, he battled some injuries, but he's got a great mindset. He's extremely talented, hardworking guy. I mean, he tore his ACL in game 2 or 3 of the 2020 season.
Yeah.
And then he put in so much work that less than a year later, like 6 months later, he was in better shape running 3-cone drill and all this stuff than he was leading up to the draft. When he was in the draft. And he kind of joked, he's like, gosh, I wish I was in this good a shape, at the combine. I could have like really blown it up. And I'm like, really? You were the number 2 pick in the draft.
Right.
I don't think you have anything to worry about. He claimed, my best football's ahead of me. I can be better next year. Meaning, because he had a really good season this last year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I look at it and you go, I mean, really? Can you be better? But I think he can. The thing that, the 49ers need to continue to bring in defensive linemen, because if you have Nick Bosa on one side, he's going to get all the attention. And he does a really good job of beating double team blocks or beating chip blocks and all that.
Oh, yeah.
But if an offense pays so much attention to him, you do need guys elsewhere on the line to pick up the slack and beat one-on-ones. And because the more one-on-ones being beaten across the line, some teams are going to go, let's whatever for 12 snaps a game. Let's try to single up Bosa, to kind of mix up our coverage or mix up our protections and whatnot. And that's when he's going to feast. So he's an impressive guy, and the fan base loves him whenever he's in road games or whatever, because 49er fans travel so well.
Oh, yeah.
When he runs out on the field before the game wearing those shorts and cut off sleeves,
yeah,
and people go nuts for him. So they're expecting. I mean, he's expecting a huge year this year because he's the one guy. He's coming up on a new contract too. That man is going to make a lot of money.
Yeah, a hell of a lot. A hell of a lot of money, man. I mean, I can't wait for it. Like I said, I love watching him play, man. I don't think people understand how strong he is, both him and his brother. But sometimes I'm like, okay, Joey Bosa is a beast already, and I've heard of Joey Bosa for years and seen him play, and it's incredible. And then it's like you hear about Nick, I'm like, these guys are both incredible. It's crazy.
They are, and you know what, Roland? They're different. I don't know, different styles necessarily, but they have different bodies.
Yeah.
Joey is a little bit more taller and kind of lean and kind of, I don't want to say wiry, but for a defensive end, I guess. Right. Nick is just so stout and has those huge legs I'm talking about, and his balance. I mean, you rarely see him on the ground.
Right.
I mean, he can bend the corner. His use of hands. I mean, he might as well be a black belt, as far as do everything that he needs to do. Like I said, he is a absolute technician and kind of a savant, I think, when it comes to defensive line play and leverage and reading offensive tackles and everything else.
Yeah, I'm happy you said that, man, because I don't think a lot of people – I think we got a lot of people that are passive football fans that might understand what you're saying, but I definitely understand. I actually used to play defensive line in my old days, so a lot of what you're saying, I definitely see it translate to tape. I watch the tape. I see it on the field each and every play. Just out there giving them hell, man. I know we don't have you for too much longer. I want to ask you about Fred Warner, man. Tell us about Fred, man. He just got paid, recently? Not a few years ago or a year ago or something like that. So, I guess how good is he?
The thing I think of with Fred Warner is if you talk to him, like if you ran into Fred Warner on the street and just started talking to him, you might think, is this guy like a diplomat? Like, is he a politician? Is he the CEO of a company? Like, who is this guy?
Right.
And because he's such a polished guy. And when he was all over the place at BYU. They had him doing everything. He was playing, close to the line of scrimmage. He was rushing. He was playing inside. He was playing safety. He was just doing it all. And the 49ers, when they were evaluating him, said middle linebacker. And so his very first rookie camp, or when the veterans came in, they stuck him in middle linebacker and they put the green dot on his helmet. Well, Fred is he has such a presence about him, and he has such confidence, not cocky, just like this confidence. He just oozes confidence, and it's not manufactured. But in the huddle, he'd be barking out the play call for the defense, but he was so loud that they had to tell him.
I wasn't expecting that.
like lower the volume because the offense can hear you.
Right.
But that was part of his thing, was like, I got to come in as a rookie, and I gotta make sure that everybody can hear me and they know their assignments and this and that. And
right.
So he felt like I would rather have them say, hey, tone it down, rather than, hey, pump up the volume.
Right. Yeah.
And so that's kind of the story that I always think of Fred Warner, because he kind of came in right away and it felt like he belonged, like right from the beginning. And so he's a talented guy. I know last year he puts a lot on pressure on himself. He felt like how the season started after he got the big money contract, that he wasn't living up to what he should have been doing. He wasn't living up to his own expectations. But Fred Warner had a good season last year. Don't let anybody tell you anything different.
Oh yeah, I definitely saw it.
Yeah, and he's continues to be an ascending player. His best football is still out there, and I would think that the way he approaches the game, the way he approaches his craft, the kind of shape he's in. I mean, if the cards fell right and they had him blitz more and maybe do more things, it's not out of the realm of possibility that at some point here in the next 1, 2, 3 seasons, we could be talking about him as potentially an NFL Defensive Player of the Year. He's that good.
Yeah,
Sheesh.
I mean, I see it, man. And the thing is, he has that, those linemen up front, that shield. Mm-hmm. He makes so many incredible plays, tackles for loss. He just stuns guys when he hits. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I think that's the area where I think they can take more advantage of him. He's so good in coverage, but I do think that there's an opportunity to have him attacking the line of scrimmage more and to rush the passer. And so I think if there's an opportunity, it wouldn't surprise me one of these years if he gets 5 or 6 sacks. And if he does that's what I'm talking about. Then you start to look at, if he has 5 or 6 sacks and 3 or 4 interceptions and some forced fumbles and, 120 tackles. And I think all that's not hyperbole. That's not that's a dream. I think that you can easily make that a reality.
I think so too, and it's very doable, man. Like I said, he's an incredible player. I don't think a lot of people understand how great this guy is. He's probably, in my opinion, he might be the best linebacker in the league. A lot of people might say Darius Leonard or guys like that, Bobby Wagner.
Guys a year ago, Bobby is he's the OG, right? He did
he's in the Division 2 now, so
yes,
still in the division,
still on the better team.
He's a guy that's he's done it for 10 years, and now he's with the Rams. But a year ago, Fred Warner is basically in the same situation that Kittle was a year before that, coming up where he can negotiate a new contract, and the same situation that Debo Samuel is right now. And so last year, the talk was, who's going to sign first? Is it going to be Fred Warner or Darius Leonard? And, whoever comes in with that contract first, it's going to pave the way for the other guy.
That's the market.
Last year, Fred Warner became the highest paid linebacker in the game. And then about 2 weeks later, Darius Leonard became the highest paid linebacker.
Yeah. That's how it happens, man. These guys kind of set the table for everybody else, man. I think the last question I have before we get you up out of here, man, we'll probably chop it up and talk some, basketball and boxing. You're obviously in the division with the Rams, the defending Super Bowl champions. You guys kind of have their number. You guys don't fear
the
them.
NFC Championship game.
Yeah. Like I said, you guys really don't fear them. I want to ask you because, I don't know if you listen to the show. Well, you listen to the show, obviously. Aaron Donald, one of my favorite players, but you guys always seem to upset him in some way, shape, or form. What are you guys saying to him along that front that you always guys get him out of character? I can't remember. It's always something that he just, he doesn't have a typical Aaron Donald game against you guys. Is it Kyle and the scheme or what?
Yeah, it's scheme. Yeah, I do think that Kyle Shanahan is so good. And I think in the NFC Championship game, what you saw late in that game, the 49ers are very good against a team that has, one dominant defensive lineman. And Aaron Donald is as dominant of a defensive lineman as there's ever been in the NFL. But the 49ers can scheme things up so that let's just put it this way. They have a better chance, or maybe even they've had more success neutralizing him or making him not as dominant as a lot of other teams. And so they can do that. And they've done it successfully, taking Aaron Donald out of a game, or at least put it this way, because I have such respect for Aaron Donald. They haven't enabled him or haven't allowed him to be a game wrecker like he is so many times. Now, You can do that, but last year, especially in the fourth quarter of the NFC Championship game, when the Rams are also able to put out Leonard Floyd and Von Miller on the field, now you can still make it so that Aaron Donald doesn't kill you, but you're running the risk that Von Miller will or Leonard Floyd will.
Right.
And that's where I think the 49ers, that's one of their shortcomings last year was they have to put all their attention on Aaron Donald and kind of roll the dice with the other guys. And last year, those other guys, when the Rams needed them most, those guys came through. But it's why the 49ers have had, relatively speaking, success against Aaron Donald. No question in my mind, it's all the offensive scheming to take him out of the game.
That's what's up, man. Like I said, it's every time I watch you guys play, it's like, you guys you're the only team in the league that kind of makes him look like a regular. He looks like a good player. He doesn't look like he's elite or anything. It's just like, man, like what is happening out there?
Yeah, and it's funny, and it's oftentimes it's against offensive linemen that you might not even know who they are. But they're still, and it's there's a lot of complexities there, but that's something I know the 49ers, coaching staff have taken a lot of pride in. Like, you can lose a game, just don't enable the team's best player,
right,
a player that you should be devoting your attention to. Just don't let him wreck the game. Put it on the other guys. And I think that's where the 49ers have had success. Because as you mentioned, Rome, I mean, there's 6 wins in a row against the Rams in the regular season, including week 17 or week 18 last year that enabled the 49ers to get into the playoffs. And then, they had the Rams in the NFC Championship game and squandered a late lead there in the fourth quarter. But certainly I think what the 49ers have done, and whether it's the Kyle Shanahan against Sean McVay, big brother, little brother thing. I tell you what, this is probably a good way to end it, right? But I mean, that's kind of the element that I'm most excited for this season is just the Rams 49ers rivalry. Now it's on. Now
it's got to be.
Because the 49ers for 3 regular seasons in a row, they swept them. Rams get the last laugh, and then no one even probably really cares all that much if the Rams lose in the Super Bowl, but they finished the job. So now the Rams have something that the 49ers desperately want. And that's, we're talking Northern California, Southern California. It's going to make for phenomenal theater this season.
Yep, for sure, man. Times 10. But Matt, man, like I said, it's a pleasure having you, man. To be honest, I could go on and on and on. Like I said, we'll definitely have you on again, man, to ask some more of those questions. But like I said, it's a pleasure to have you on, man. Best of luck to you. And like I said, we'll definitely stay in touch.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you having me on. And tell Brian, your neighbor, I said, what's up. And Rome, I appreciate it. Big Z, thank you. And Jay.
Thank you for coming on. What's your outlook for the season? How do you see this season going on? Once everything
you're talking I mean, if you look at it, I don't think the Rams are as good as they were when the season ended. I mean, they took a lot.
They lost some key pieces,
but you still have Aaron Donald, you still have Matthew Stafford, you still have Cooper Kupp, you still have Jalen Ramsey.
That's what they made up.
You could make an argument. You can make a pretty strong argument that those might be the 4 best players in the division, and they're all on one team.
Right, yeah.
I mean, but the 49ers, they're not exactly, the cupboard's not bare for them either. They have some big time talent. I think it's all going to come down to the play that the 49ers get from their quarterback. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's two very talented teams. Both teams have some of the highest priced players in the league at their particular positions. I think it's going to be great. And I would, if I were to, put odds on it, I would think that the Rams probably should be the favorite. The champion has to get knocked off. Yeah. I think the 49ers are a tick below them. I think the Cardinals are a little bit below the 49ers. And then I think Seattle is running a distant 4th right now.
Yeah, I think so
Arizona,
too.
That just a little bit. Because I mean, what they don't have D-Hop for, what, about 6 games, I think?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. So maybe a little bit more than a little bit. Here's the thing, Jay, too, is I'm not high on the Cardinals for this season, and that's part of it. But the bigger thing to me, I mean, they lost Chandler Jones.
Oh, yeah.
And J.J. Watt hasn't been healthy for 4 of the last 6 seasons. But the thing that scares me about the Cardinals this season is the same thing that scared me about Seattle last year. I think there's just some weirdness going on there. Last year, I just felt like whatever was going on in the offseason between Russell Wilson and the Seahawks organization, it just wasn't going to work out. And it didn't. They finished last in the division. Mm-hmm. I think I had the same feeling this year about the Cardinals and Kyler Murray. If your quarterback is not taking part in the offseason program, you got some issues.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
If Debo Samuels not taking part in the 49ers offseason program, that's not ideal for the 49ers, but he's a wide receiver. You can get. But if your quarterback, the guy who's supposed to be the leader of your team, isn't taking part in the offseason program, what kind of message does that signal? And so that's the best word I can come up with is weirdness. There's weirdness with the Cardinals, and I expect them to pay the price in the win-loss column.
Yeah, I think so too, man. I mean, Kyler Murray, I think he really wants that contract and that deal, and I think he took that playoff loss. I mean, that blowout, embarrassing loss. A lot of fans were calling him out, man, and I've been saying this about Kyler Murray for a long time. That is a little guy. He's very fast. He's very quick. He's very athletic. But, I mean, over the course of 18-game season, 17 games played, that's going to take a toll on you. In a division like that, when you're playing the Rams and Niners, I mean, there's just no choice. I call him the miniature micro quarterback. Just no way around it. But yeah, man, we got to get Matt up out of here, man. But Matt, like I said, it's a pleasure, man. Like I said, I need you longer than you should, but have a good rest of your day, man. And like I said, definitely stay in touch.
I appreciate it. I love the work you guys are doing, and keep it up.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Take care, guys.
It.
Peace, man.
Matt,
man.
NFC West is going to be exciting. Rams and Niners again. Are the Rams fans are Niner fans gonna take over SoFi like they always do?
For sure. Jay, first of all, Jay, what you sitting in the dark? You pay the bill or what?
Man, look, man.
Yo, what the fuck is going on over there? I'm just like, you look like the episode we had Albert Hainsworth for. Everybody's like, yo, Albert paid the light bill. You
look, man, I just came. Look, like I said, I just came straight off of work, threw the bag down with the food. I ain't even eat shit yet. Just threw it down and got to it. And then as we were talking, I'm sitting there thinking, like, I'm looking at you and Big Z shit. I'm like, God damn it, Jay, you forgot the fucking lights. You ran down and you forgot the fucking lights. I'm thinking that the whole time.
Oh shit! Well, like I said, very happy to have you, big guy. 49ers fans, man. That was a hell of a treat, man. Matt Maiocco, man, long time 49ers team reporter, man. He's probably gonna make the Hall of Fame as a
28
expert.
Years, almost 30 years as a Niners reporter.
If you know anything about football, man, this guy knows a lot. Like I said, I could talk to him all day about football. I wanted to ask him about the secondary. Is the secondary ready? Because that's key to be their Achilles heel on the defensive side. Obviously, we talked about the defensive line a lot.
Yeah, remember the dropped interception in the NFC Championship game.
Oh, man. They could have sealed the deal.
That would have sealed the game. Yeah.
Yeah,
and
man.
Go to the Super Bowl.
My God.
The safety dropped the interception. 2 plays later, touchdown. And Rams win.
But he dropped so many little nuggets, man. Like I said, if you're a Niners fan, if you're a football fan in general, go back and listen to the little nuggets and that he dropped, because some of this might go over your head. Because I'm telling you, I'm looking at it, and like I said, I'm looking at it because I'm gonna make a lot of money. You know what I mean? Because like I said, we're the Chargers, the Game Sports and Sports Betting podcast as well, man. So like I said, definitely check that out. But man, since we're all here, man, I want to talk about the fight over the past weekend. We got to talk about it. Canelo took that L, man, to Pivol, man, at the light heavyweight, division.
And Vegas came up. The tradition was always people who do these long parlays all day put that minus 500 Canelo at the bottom of the parlay.
You gotta do it. You gotta take that shot.
For the first time in 10 years, all those parlays lost.
Man,
and Vegas came up.
And that's how it happened, man. I mean, like, so he came out swinging. I want to address this right now, man, because I want to know how you guys feel. Canelo shouldn't have fought him, man.
No.
I don't think Canelo doesn't even belong in that division.
There you go.
Thank you. Go ahead and talk to him.
He's too. Canelo should be. He's fighting these Spence, Crawford. I mean, he's a super middleweight. He's a middleweight or Charlo. That is his weight class. Charlo brothers, David Benavidez. That is Canelo's comp. Or Pivol or Bivol, whatever the hell dude's name is. That is not his comp. Go ahead.
No, it's the worst kind of fight to take. A guy who's undefeated, who's a champion, who doesn't have a huge name, nobody knows. Now Bivol is known,
but no Canelo, man.
He's known all over the world. Canelo set him up now. Bivol's next fight, everybody's gonna watch.
People was not worrying about no goddamn. This is just another little fucking guy that thinks he's gonna move up here. You know what I mean? Like, I'm top dog. Like, yeah, he beat Callum Smith. He beat the other big sloppy looking guy. I mean, I'm telling you, I knew he was gonna take that L, and I put something on him myself because I was just people said, man, he's gonna punish this guy. I was like, yo, you don't watch boxing. If you really thought Canelo was gonna walk through this guy, he's very skilled. He showed that he's faster, he's quicker than Canelo. He was in better shape than Canelo. Canelo he's putting on weight to move up. This guy dropped weight to move down.
And then rehydrates.
He's a naturally bigger guy. What weight class? The 175 or 170?
Yeah, 175. And just to put it on record, the Canelo started at 147, people.
There you go.
147.
And the thing is, go like, well, Pacquiao did that, Mayweather did that, and all of this and that. Man, it's different when you fight light heavyweights. Pacquiao, Floyd, all of those guys didn't fight light heavyweights. Bernard Hopkins did. You know what I mean?
I'll give him that.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm saying when you move up in weight,
Roy Jones was the other one who went up from middleweight.
Roy Jones and Tarver and those type of guys. But I mean, when you move up like Canelo did, he was a welterweight fighting. Now he's fighting light heavyweights. I mean, this guy naturally probably walks around at 200 pounds, maybe. Yeah. You know what I mean? Or 185 or 190 or something like that. He dropped weight for the fight, and Canelo, that's kind of what it is. But I mean, I'm not taking nothing away from Bivol. I mean, he fought an incredible fight.
He whooped that man.
Yeah,
8-4.
Might have been worse than that. For real.
It should have been. What was the judges helping Canelo out, making it 7-5? It wasn't no 7-5 fight.
I only saw 3 rounds. I only saw 3 rounds. I only saw 3 rounds. I only saw 3 rounds max. In my opinion, I only saw 3 rounds max that Canelo actually won. Because he was giving it. He had Canelo frustrated against
literally
the ropes.
by round 5. I sat there, I'm like, oh my God, Bivol's gonna win this.
Me too. Well, me and you on the same page. I'm being generous with 8-4. My original score is 9-3.
That's what I said. And that's max. I mean, I could have made the case that Canelo only won 2 rounds. Maybe even 1. I mean, this dude, I'm telling you, he's a beast. Like, he doesn't stop. He's not afraid of anybody. And I hate to see people kind of say, oh, Canelo, not number 1 pound. He's still the best fighter to me. He's just bit off a little bit more than he can chew.
And then Canelo is going to do the rematch. There's a rematch clause. He needs to forget him.
I don't think he should do it too.
He should
go on Charlo. Don't see Bivol. You've done it. I mean, forget the rematch clause. Go make that money and fight Charlo or one of them or Benavidez. Benavidez is an easy win for him.
Yeah, man. I mean, fight.
Okay, so a lot of people don't think Benavidez is an easy out, though.
Yeah. I mean,
Benavidez is nice, though.
I love Benavidez. I want to say, I ain't gonna lie to you. Benavidez might punish them. Benavidez might like heavyweight too. Benavidez beat the shit out of Charlo.
He'll drag the Charlo brothers.
Charlo up, all right?
He will fuck them Charlo brothers up.
They fought in the crowd, or their entourages fought in the crowd.
I'm like, Charlo brothers?
Yeah. No, Charlo and Benavidez's group fighting in the
audience. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, because Benavidez was pointing. They were beefing. They were talking shit. I didn't know they started to fight in the crowd, but they were talking shit to each other.
Man,
I'm like, is this like entourage folks fighting each other and talking shit, or is it because the two fighters were just standing there talking, and of course everybody else around them are trying to throw punches?
That's how it is. It's go time. You the money. You don't have to touch nothing. We come here to beat ass. That's what we here for.
Man, I cannot wait. Like I said, I mean, they building it up. Once the
I'm with
motherfuckers
it.
fight, and I mean, Charlo, since he got the belts and all, it's gonna be in where is he from? Texas or Houston?
Yeah.
I'll see you there, man. Because I'm gonna be there. All right. I'm gonna be there. I'm saving up for it, man. I'm gonna be there talking shit. I'm rooting for Benavidez. He's gonna come into Texas and he's gonna beat that ass. All right, as simple as that. All right, and I'm talking trash. You're gonna hear me loud and clear, man.
Beat that ass.
I mean, to stay on track about this Canelo fight, man. I just love boxing. I love to see fights like that, happening. You know what I mean? Not these guys. We know what's gonna happen. With Charlo fight, we know he's gonna punish dude. You know what I mean? We know Terrence Crawford's gonna punish his next. We know Spencer's gonna punish his next opponent. You know what I mean? Fight real calm. I don't respect none of you guys. I'm sick of this, man. Spencer Crawford, I don't give a fuck, man. Make it happen. Benavidez, Charlo. I mean, all of these guys. Yeah. You know what I mean? Let's do the fights. Sure. I mean, it's okay to take an L. I mean, Canelo will still fuck all of those guys up. You know what I mean?
Look at Canelo going up to fight an undefeated fighter when he doesn't have to. Canelo can fight anybody.
There was no comp for him.
And make money. Yeah.
Right.
And but people say he handpicked all his fights. I don't think this was handpicked.
Who?
They said Canelo handpicks all his fights.
Man, whoever's saying that shit need to stop, man. I mean, they smoking dope, dog.
Well, I do think he picks, but you're right, not all of them, because this was.
But I'm saying, who is he picking though? I mean, bro, he's fought comp every fucking fight. You know what I mean? Like he's fought.
I know who's happy. Shoot, Pivol got a worldwide name now. Thank you, Canelo. The world knows who he is. He was an undefeated champion that nobody knew until he fought Canelo. Now the world knows who he is.
I know, because I didn't think he was going to fight him. I never thought Canelo was going to move up to light heavyweight as a 5'7" big back man who's very powerful. But
on Cinco de Mayo weekend. I mean, that's usually his easy win weekend every year.
Yeah, well, at least he makes it look that way, right? But I mean, I'm just looking at it. I mean, I'm excited. You know, I'm happy that boxing has something to talk about. And they're putting on big displays like that. I think Tank fights in a few weeks. He's fighting Romero, and those guys kind of going at it. That's gonna be fun, man. I might even go to that. Just ain't too crazy.
Garcia is set to fight Cruz. That's going to be a fight.
That's good. Give me Cruz, baby. Give me Cruz. Cruz gonna punish that motherfucker.
He's throwing bombs, bro.
Right.
Over Baghdad. It's easy.
For sure, man. I can't wait. Like I said, now boxing, y'all gonna have to do something. But yeah, anyway, man, that and then what was the other thing? It was something else that I wanted to talk about. I'll come to me. But as far as the NBA playoffs, fellas, I mean, what have you guys seen so far? Obviously, the Boston and the Bucks are playing now. What's the score right now? That game, you guys
92-99.
Who's winning?
Boston's up.
Yeah.
Boston's okay. How much time is left?
We got 6 minutes and 6 minutes, basically.
All right. So for the guys that already, man, why is he clapping? I bet on Boston tonight. All right. I've seen enough. I've seen enough. Giannis doesn't have enough help, man. I mean, just doesn't have enough help. I saw it at home when they lost.
Sure. I'm sitting here sweating the -4. I took that -4 spread.
Man.
It's close.
I got Boston tonight, man. They at home. I'm not watching the game right now, so I can't tell what's going on. But Giannis, he's not going to get those calls like he was at home. And then Boston at home with that crowd feeding off the energy. What the Warriors play tonight too, right?
Yeah.
Warriors.
Warriors can end it. Yeah, in Memphis. But the trend has been all the home teams have been winning.
Yeah,
it's been the chalk at home versus road splits. Mostly the road players are terrible on the road and are Superman at home. Yeah, and that's been the trend of every series. It's been home team domination.
Yeah, this shit do look like I ain't fucking paid the light.
Now you see what I see. Because I'm like, yo. You got the biggest portion of the screen too at the bottom. I'm like, man. But nah, man. I mean, so that and then that's what it was. The Chris Paul situation. So my man is out there balling, and he's in Dallas, and what, a fan pushes his mom or something?
Yeah,
like that?
it looks like a kid, like a 15-year-old kid was trying to hug his mom. And she said, I don't want to hug. That's how it all started. And then from then on, a confrontation came. The fan and his mother have been banned for a year from attending Mavericks games.
I think that's a little light. I think they need to be banned longer than that. They need to make an example of these guys, man.
The crazy thing is they were saying that he was drunk, but if he's 15, 16 years old.
But why did they make that up while he was drunk?
Well, that was the initial report, but then when you see
the video, why it is.
when you see the video, I mean, yeah, he's there with his mom, privileged more than likely, considering where the seats are. Surrounded by the son's family. So it's a kid and his mom. And he repeatedly tried to hug Chris Paul's mother, saying Happy Mother's Day. She kept pushing him off. No, don't hug me.
And he was trying to be an asshole, but come on, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can see that.
He did that shit. Man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? My boy's going to win tonight. That little type of, it's just dumb, man. I mean, but I'm just like, you got to understand, like, these are human beings. You know what I mean? Like, if that was anybody,
his mom on Mother's Day.
You lucky. I mean, Chris Paul is obviously in control of himself and his reactions, but a lot of people might have just went up there and just bombed you, dog. Like, you know what I mean? It does all that. I'm 15. I'm 14. It doesn't matter. They're gonna punish you.
You can't win as a road team. Malice of the Palace, 20,000 versus 10. You can't go in the stands. It's just on the road.
Somebody touched my mom. I mean, I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, but Mavericks they reacted swiftly, banned the fan and his mother for a year. So Mark Cuban kind of took the step fairly quickly. I mean, going on from that, now they're going back to Dallas, Game 6, same type of series where the home team has dominated each game, basically.
We'll see. I mean, I just look at now that game. I'm taking the Suns in that one. Chris Paul gonna be mad.
Yeah.
They're gonna be big.
But the key is gonna be the role players. I mean, Davis Bertans and those dudes at home are making every three, and if Phoenix can't hit any threes.
He's gonna be motivated for that. He's going back to Dallas where all that shit happened.
Yeah. and he fouled out. He fouled out in the third quarter. Which is crazy. He played. I think he played 12 minutes and 6 fouls. Out of the game. Now here's a lot of bad calls though. Bad calls. But I'm happy because I did bet on the Mavs. NBA. Here's where the NBA could be funny. Watch Scott Foster show up in Dallas to make sure there's a game 7.
You know what I mean? Him and his mob ties.
And then continue that 0-15 streak. Because this is the perfect NBA kind of story to go through. You're going Game 6 back to Dallas. Game 7 is the biggest ratings for the league. Scott Foster may show up in Dallas.
Man, what is the guy that was went to jail for fixing game? I'm gonna keep saying this every show.
Tim Donahue.
Tim Donahue, brother. Please reach out to us, man.
We need that. We need that.
You on the show very bad, big guy. Please, please, please. We really want you on the show, man. I will have a lot of fun with you. We might need a 3-hour show for you, man. I got so many questions, man. But that and then the last series before we close up with bets, fellas. The 76ers, man, and the Heat. I mean, the Heat is gonna. Looks like they're gonna probably win this one, man. I mean, James Harden is just fat and out of shape, man.
Great bet, James Harden under points.
Hell yeah, that's been great.
Yo, who's out of shape more, Kyle Lowry or James Harden?
Oh, we know it's James Harden. James Harden in there with a little baby in them in chicken wings in the strip club. Cool, right?
Hey, chill. What do you mean?
And honey buns. Hands down, James Harden.
The James Harden under bet has cashed every game except one. And the one game was the last game in Philly. Every other, and it cashes easy. Last game was under 36. He had 14 points. I mean, easy.
Hold up, his under was 36.
Yeah.
36 points and assists, and he ended up with 14 points and 3 assists. I mean, the easiest cash ever. I was like, man, I should have put more on that bet.
Like I said, I mean, you got to look at these player props, man. I mean, I don't really touch them like that.
The other one is Danny Green on the road. Danny Green under on the road. He can't make a shot.
At home, it hit your ass, but yeah, on the road.
At home, he made 8 threes. On the road, he went 1 for 9.
Man, I don't know. If you're a Philadelphia 76ers fan, you head back home, but I mean, they're trying to close the show, man.
Feel bad for Embiid, man. Another year.
I mean,
you with MVP.
And then after dealing with Ben Simmons last playoffs, and then this playoffs, the injury and everything.
It's favoritism, man.
Oh, man.
Favoritism.
Look, man. All I'm saying is I hear that whole thing, and I hear the favoritism thing, but people act like the stats weren't that close. It was really a tight race. I'm not mad at whoever wins. Both of them
man,
not
I'm mad. Man,
fuck
that shit.
Fuck
that shit, man.
Look,
you know who it was, man. Come on now.
Bruh. If I'm looking at exactly what it is, like I'm sorry.
Literally, it should be Embiid 1, Giannis 2, and Jokic
pretty
3.
much.
How so?
They're still playing, and Jokic is sitting at home.
Jokic is sitting at home.
That has nothing to do with what's currently going on in the regular season.
Embiid is the whole 76ers. The Nuggets, I mean, if you take Jokic off the Nuggets, they'll be bad too.
No, they'll be horrible.
Bro, look what he's been through though. Ben Simmons is a bitch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ben Simmons is a bitch.
I agree with you on that.
The same dude. And so I'm not stepping foot in their arena, man. They booed me. They said they suck. You know what I mean? And this is the same dude that he had to deal with that, carry the team. You know what I mean? All of that. Like, and the thing is, he sets up everything. The whole 76ers team runs through Embiid. I mean, if you look at Denver, they run a different type of system. Yeah, their stuff runs through Jokic, and he's a good player and stuff like that. But what I'm just saying is these sports writers and these, these guys that have a vote, if you look at the guys who vote, they look a certain way. They don't like, I mean, Embiid is, what is he? He's like African or Jamaican or some shit.
Yeah, he's from Cameroon.
They're not, they can't relate to a dude like that. They know, you know what I mean? It's stuff like that too. It's the politics of it.
That's been the whole thing though, but you can't sit there and tell me that no black players won MVP because that's
I'm saying, but I'm saying if you had to, if it's on this level playing field, and I'm white and he's white, you're not gonna just hit the white. I mean,
well, no, because Embiid said it in the press conference. Bill Simmons, one of the guys who votes in the middle of the season, he literally said, guys. "I hate Jalen Green. Jalen Green is horrible." Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
He said, "I hate him."
Yeah, he has absolute bias.
Made the point. How can that guy be a voter for MVP? It's unfair to the players because that's not right. And
I agree. I agree, but the thing about it though is, guess who has the biggest bias? The actual players, 100% actual players. I mean, I don't have as far as
who is that? Who is saying let the top 75 players vote? The 75 players.
Yeah, but what do you mean? It was a stat that I was looking at. And it was a few MVPs that won, and it was crazy because they were like. Player, if you look at how players were rating people and rating certain players, there was one, I forgot who won MVP. I had to go look at the numbers, but I heard it earlier this morning. I should have jotted it down, but he barely even played. He barely played in one MVP. Big Z may know off the rip, but he barely played. He got vote and he voted. He had all the players voted for him. It's a bias like it's your ops. I can't trust my ops to make those decisions because, like you said, while the media still don't like people, there's a lot of people that get cooked and be like, I would not vote against that person, vote with that person at all.
I'm trying to. So what do you mean? How does that relate to Joker though? I'm trying to understand.
Well, no. Well, that was more so because when Joel said that about the Bill BS thing, Simmons. Oh. Yeah, which I understand that too, because it's like, yeah, I get that. He shouldn't be able to vote with motherfuckers talking like that. That's crazy. That's extreme bias. But at this point, it's hard to because players. My bad. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, it's hard to when you look at a history of players have a bias. clearly media has a bias. But
their bias means the most though. The players don't got to vote in the MVP. If it were up to the players, every last player I've heard said has been in. They play against them. The thing is, the media is like, man, I don't like Joe. I don't like him. I don't like the way he talk. You know what I mean? It's the same thing in the work world. We all work in corporate America. We already know. We already kind of know what it is, and they don't like the way people do things and say things because it's not relative and relative to them. That same carries over to the media. These are the same guys, and that's just the biggest thing for me when I look at it in the grand scheme of things. And like I said, I'm not taking nothing away from Jokic because I love Jokic, but I mean, for me, this season it definitely should have been Embiid. You know what I mean? But I'm just looking at it like, and the disrespect. I don't like how the fact they actually paid Devin. They were talking about Devin Booker.
Oh yeah, you're wild. You're wild.
Like, come on, man.
Yeah, you're wild.
I mean, like when people start talking about with Devin Booker, man, like, yo, he's not even better than Jason Tatum to me. I mean, like, it's like guys like that. It's like, yo, these guys are okay. You're not even surpassed like guys like Paul George to me. I'd rather have Paul George than
Paul George.
You know what I mean?
My thing is too, and don't get it misconstrued with people listening to this. I prefer Joel Embiid, and the only reason why I say that is too because if I had to pick a center for my team, and out of those two, it would be Joel Embiid. To be honest with you, so that's how I go. I don't have no bias towards it. Maybe I'm more biased towards Joel Embiid, but it's crazy that people say it's still a robbery when the things was this close. Like it was still close. It's almost like when people do fights and people be like, "Oh, he robbed." And if you look at it, if he only won one more round, or two, or round and a half, or two more rounds, was it really a robbery? That's what I'm saying. I mean, but you know, I think that NBA has a history of a lot of janky votes in general. So this wouldn't be surprising either. Like for example, there's no reason why Ja Morant should be winning most improved player when we got someone that came from the G League that was ass, aka Jordan Poole, and now here looking like a baller, looking like a piece, a foundation move forward for Golden State. All that shit is weird. All that shit janky.
Yeah, I mean,
I agree.
It's all for Raiders. I mean, at the end of the day, this is kind of like it's entertainment too because I like you said, I like Jordan Poole and what he's done too. But they're like, yo, John Morant went from good to superstar status. Now you can talk about him as a top 10 player in the NBA. People are saying that. You know what I mean? You know, that's how they look at it. They're not looking at Jordan Poole from being in the G League and being a bum. So, if they both made the same jump, they can let me just take the superstar rather than Jordan Poole, which I love Jordan Poole. I love it because he been helping me win this cash. That motherfucker slithery as hell. You know what I mean? He up here with it. When he gets to the basket, he's smooth and slick with it. I love it, man. But man.
But no, I'm about to say I get what you're saying though. My bad. I get what you're saying though. Still, it still is entertainment. So
Giannis is unbelievable. If you look at,
did they come back?
No, he did. It's 105 to 105.
Giannis got blood coming down the side of his face, and he came down.
My goddamn money, motherfucker. I hate that nigga.
Look, he came down to hit a three. He got blood coming down his face. He just come down and just nail a three. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yo, how much time is left? Do I have time to bet on the other side?
20 seconds. They just fouled him. So Giannis is at the free throw line.
And it's
they're down. Milwaukee down 2.
Oh, the downs. Okay. Well, he's gonna miss one, hopefully. Oh man. But let's close out with the bets, fellas, man. Bets presented by BetUS Sportsbook, man. I'll put the link down at the bottom of the channel, man. Create your BetUS account, man. Get you 125%, towards your first deposit. So meaning if you load $100, dollars on your account, you get $125 in free play. So take full advantage of that, man. So meaning if you bet, $1,000, dollars, you're gonna get 1,000, whatever. I'm not great at math, you know what I mean? It don't matter. That's not my job, dog. You know what I mean? I just know my bank account's looking nice. My car is nice. All right. That's it. You know, I mean, I'm not breaking it down to you. You know, I'll keep it short and sweet. But you know that, man. So as far as for the bets, man, what do you guys got for the people?
I'm about to say still stick with baseball. A lot of overs, like it's been a lot of overs, like a lot of overs, especially like anything with the Angels and Royals and stuff like that. They've been hitting pretty high on me in baseball. As far as basketball, like Z said, the favorites. Usually the favorites are winning
At home.
Yeah, at home. So that's the only kind of streamlined thing I've been able to spot. A lot of this other shit has been very, 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 very weird. All right. So but that's all I got.
Yeah, I mean, here's a unique bet with hockey. Every game in the playoffs, third period has gone over because the teams losing always pull their goalies. And so they play 5-6 minutes with an empty net at the end of the game. So the third period over in every game has cashed. Now the books are getting wise to it because the juice, the game was 1-3. The juice was normal, like 130, 140. Now you're looking at minus 190, but every game has cashed. Not one game has not cashed. The third period over. Every single hockey game has cashed. So even if and some books have made it 2. And so the 2 you push. That means they score 2 goals in the third period, and you push. But most of the time, if you see minus 1.5 third period, take the over. The losing team will pull their goalie, and you'll get empty net goals to make it go over the 1.5. Every game has gone over. It's crazy.
I'm trying to look at my stuff. Excuse me, fellas. I'm looking up my let's see here. Y'all hold it down. Give me 1 second.
Wow.
Yeah, no,
my gosh.
Wait, what happened? Z been freaking me out like for the past like whole minute. I've been looking at the fake.
I've been looking at the zone.
Giannis misses the free throw. Bobby Portis gets a rebound and gets a dunk. Tie game.
Bro,
I'm telling you, yo. I'm telling you, Giannis. Just every time I bet against Giannis, I fail. I'm telling you, I fail all the time. You know what I mean? Because I say Giannis beat the whole time, and the next thing I know, man, it's just like, you know, I lose my money. So I'm hoping to, you know, tonight.
Well, so Celtics got the ball. We got 10, 11 seconds.
Come on, Jason Tatum, show me, man. Show me, man. I mean,
or we can go to overtime, and my -4 spread could still be alive.
Okay, all right, I gotta pull it up, man. Thanks for you guys holding it down. So for my bets, man, you know, I've been kind of just like you said, Big Z, and Jay. I've been definitely doing with the home teams. You know, when they're at home, the Heat at home, the 76ers at home. They came when the 76ers went back home for those 2 games. I crushed that. I made a lot of money. And then the other night, I took the Heat when they went back to Miami.
Oh my gosh.
Took Boston tonight. And then as far as, man, I'm telling you, very underrated bet. I'm telling you, it's so fucking easy. WNBA, dog. The Mystics. Went to the Mystics game yesterday. It was incredible. Mystics, you know what I mean? Big, you know, I think they were underdog.
They were underdog, against Vegas.
Was at the game, came out there and gave it to them. You know what I mean? Deladon, Nakasha Kyle didn't even play. They held it down. You know, what's the one girl out there? She's you know, the crowd really liked her. She's very pretty. Number 0 for the Vegas Aces. You know, but she didn't really have a good game, but it was just more of a guy thing, just more from the shock and, you know, the pretty and, you know, aspect of it. But the Sparks, I love the Sparks. With Big Liz Cambage, I mean, what can you fucking do? I mean, it's so easy, dog. The Aces, the Sparks, and then fading. What's the team?
Indiana Fever.
Indiana. That's what we on. Fading. It's so easy,
especially early. They start slow every game. They finally won a game, but they lost the first quarter again. Right. So just fade them early. They start super slow.
Drew Holiday.
Man, come on, please stop saying stuff.
Nah, I'm saying I'm getting a text message. Drew, you may have lost your bread, Brody.
Yeah, man.
That's what it looks like.
I'm telling you, every time I bet against Giannis,
no, it's not over. 10 seconds left.
10 seconds.
It's over. Yeah, the motherfuckers shut. But I mean, that's kind of like what I've been on, man. Seattle Storm.
6 seconds. Yeah, 6 seconds.
Seattle Storm been profitable.
I did take the Storm tonight. Storm.
Yup. Those guys, those girls moved the ball around. All of that, man. So shout out to all the
versus
players.
the Mercury. They play the Mercury tonight, so I took the Storm.
Yup. Without Brittany Griner, they're not the same team. Without Brittany Griner, they're solid, but they're not the same team, man. But yeah, shout out to WNBA players, man. I see how you guys are marketing the game. You know what I mean? Put your pretty faces forward. I see you. You know what I mean? The Sports Illustrated covers and all of this and that. Do your thing, man. Anything to tune into the game, I guess. But yeah, man, that kind of wraps up the show. Like I said, create a bet US account, man. And then Simply 8 vitamin gummies, man. They sent me some stuff, man. So check this out. Men's multivitamin, kind of taking this, man. I've been hitting the gym hard. They wanted me to reach out and just kind of share, man. I've been taking these. They give me a lot of energy, man. I like the men's multivitamin. So, that way I don't, obviously I get all the nutrients through my food and stuff like that. But, they taste great. I don't think there's a better tasting vitamin than that. And then also they sent me the men's multivitamin, and they sent me the hydration electrolytes, man. So I'm a big gym guy. Usually each and every night.
Is one a pre-workout, one post-workout, or how does that work?
Well, I mean, for this one, the men's multivitamin, I kind of just take that as a daily precaution early in the morning and then one at night. And then for this one, I kind of take this after the gym. So, but yeah, they sent them to me, man. So shout out to you guys. They taste delicious. Go get yourself some. I'll put all the information at the bottom of the channel and stuff like that. And I think you get 10% off. But yeah, man. We'll see you next show.